Although he once achieved fame, Cincinnati poet Garfield Dandridge is sadly forgotten today. Dandridge's poetry fits comfortably between his predecessor Paul Laurence Dunbar of Dayton, Ohio, to whom Dandridge was often compared, and Langston Hughes, a beacon of the Harlem Renaissance. A graduate of the old Hughes High School, where he distinguished himself as a student and an athlete, Dandridge initially found work as a house painter and decorator. Just as his career was taking off, Dandridge was struck by polio, which left him completely paralyzed. Lying bedridden in his mother's house in Price Hill, he gradually regained mobility in one hand. With that ability and a telephone, Dandridge found work taking orders for the Consolidation Coal Company. Influential friends, notably Roger K. Rogan, president of Laboito Paper Company, solicited friends to place coal orders through Dandridge, helping the invalid earn a regular commission. Rogan effused about Dandridge's character, quote, "When Raymond Dandridge came into my life years ago, it was an epoch, and if you could but meet the man and talk to him, you would receive the same inspiration I did, because I came in contact with a man who has a remarkable soul." Well, Rogan's appeals were shared by the Cincinnati Post columnist Alfred Siegel, who took notice when Dandridge began to write poetry. Siegel, in his routinely florid style, approved. If his body may not walk, he sends his spirit to the stars, and from these excursions, it comes back golden with stardust to write poems about the beauty it has seen. Dandridge did write a lot about beauty. He loved to watch the birds flying outside his Price Hill window. He wrote inspirational verse and also some dialectic poems that are somewhat embarrassing today, but Dandridge did not shy away from social issues. Quote, "Black brother, think you life so sweet that you would live at any price? Does mere existence balance with the weight of your great sacrifice?" Eventually, Dandridge's friends collected his poetry into 3 slim volumes offered for sale to augment his income as a coal merchant. As his fame grew, Dandridge gained many friends. Local churches sent their choirs to entertain the inspirational poet, and he bought a radio to listen to religious services. Dandridge succumbed to the effects of 2 decades of paralysis in February 1930. Only his poetry and the memory of his unconquerable spirit live on. All right, to tell us more, I want to welcome the curator of these curiosities, Greg Hand. Hey, Greg, it's great to see you.
Good morning.
Okay, are Dandridge's books still available?
You can still find Dandridge's books, and in some cases, the original editions are collector's items that go for a very pretty penny. Because they're so old and essentially out of copyright, there are some folks who are issuing really inexpensive reprints. And so if you're interested in following up on Mr. Dandridge's poetry, you can easily find his works online.
Was Dandridge recognized as a poet during his lifetime?
He was, and he was recognized in a way that indicates the segregation at the times. His work appears in quite a number of scholarly books, but those books tend to be focused on what was then called Negro poetry, rather than poetry in general. And in those books, he's put into a company of poets like Dunbar and others who have gone on to much larger reputations.
What about a monument? Has Cincinnati erected a monument to Raymond Dandridge anywhere?
This is a very sad story. A couple of times, the folks in the Price Hill area have attempted to create a Dandridge Park located near where his mother's house was. And it was, in fact, unveiled about 20 years ago, but it has since, all the indications that there was a park there have been completely removed. And even worse, just a few years ago, somebody bought his mother's house and demolished it. And so the physical structures in which Dandridge wrote his poetry and all that have completely disappeared from Price Hill, and it's rather a shame.
Fascinating as always, Greg. We appreciate these poetic insights. Thank you for talking to us.
Take care.